Over the next 10 minutes, we're going to focus on the big story of the day, the ban from social media for under-16s.
The government will ban access to social media for all children under the age of 16.
Honestly, it's just wow. I thought it'd give it more time to think about it and the effects it would have.
I'm absolutely over the moon. What a brilliant announcement this morning.
This is big, isn't it? This is a generational shift.
We are dismayed by the announcement that the Prime Minister has made.
This day will go down as a day of huge consequence for this country.
Suddenly, you're going to have a lot more time to fill. And what will you do?
Stare at a wall.
From next spring, there'll be no more social media for under-16s in the UK. We're going to answer your questions on how the ban will work, what it means for gaming and what other countries are doing. Let's start with the question most people are asking. Which platforms will be banned? We know it will include TikTok, Instagram and YouTube. Joe Tidy, our cyber correspondent, is with us to explain more. So, Joe, what's the full list of banned sites?
We don't have the full list, I'm afraid. We have, as you say, a short list of the big ones, all the ones you can imagine, the household names. So that is Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook and X. Probably Reddit too, but that's not confirmed. The government says that they're going to ban any platform whose purpose, this is a quote, is to enable social interaction and which allow users to post material. So that does include quite a lot of platforms.
OK, those are the platforms that we know are banned. Which ones will under-16s still have access to, Joe?
We know that YouTube Kids is exempt from this ban, and we also know that chat apps, so WhatsApp and Signal, are also not in the ban.
And how will that ban work?
We don't know. There are lots of different ways they could do it. They said that they want to use highly effective age assurance technology. So that could be, for example, facial scans that guess your age. They might use your account history on your email that's registered to the social media account or your actual activity on that account. So, for example, if you had an account for more than 16 years, they won't ban you for obvious reasons. But there's also been a little bit of discussion today about whether or not it will be on a device level. We don't think that's how they're going to do it. So, for example, in some countries, like in China, there is a minor mode, which is where parents click on a button basically and say that this phone is a minor's phone, so therefore they can't download any of the apps that we're talking about. But we don't know exactly what the mechanisms are going to be. We hopefully will find out a little bit more in July. And a lot of children and parents will want to know, when will the ban start? Well, Keir Starmer said this morning that the regulation would be in place by Christmas, excuse me, and that the actual ban will take effect in spring. So March, April, May, that kind of thing we're thinking. OK, for the moment, Joe, thank you. Now, the government says 9 in 10 parents support a social media ban for under-16s. But what about children? We spoke to some 11 to 14-year-olds in Lancashire.
Could you please put your hands up, those of you who welcome the ban? Hands up for those who welcome the ban.
I didn't think it would actually happen. I kind of believed that he'd chicken out of it and give it more time. I know in the future it will have a positive impact on young people's lives and their mental health.
I just feel that it maybe shouldn't have been banned. Maybe it should be more restricted so you can't talk to people that you don't know.
Well, I'm not happy at all because I think, like Jack said, I don't think it should be banned, but I think it should be limited.
I feel a bit gutted because now I've got to find new things on what to do instead of just staying on my phone.
And we've had a lot of questions asking, will the ban affect gaming platforms? Newsbeat's games expert Tom Richardson has more on that.
If you're a fan of Roblox, Minecraft or Fortnite, you might be wondering how they're going to be affected by the UK's social media ban. The good news for fans is that none of the games are going to be banned, but the way that players interact with each other is going to be affected. Once the rules come into force, under-16s won't be able to contact strangers via in-game chat. It's not a huge departure from existing child accounts, which are controlled by a parent or guardian and allow them to restrict the features that young players have access to. The government's also mentioned live streaming in its social media ban, although it's not entirely clear what it means by this. We've asked if it includes streaming sites like Twitch, which are hugely popular with video game fans.
Back to Joe. What's been the reaction from the social media firms to the ban?
Well, as you can imagine, they're not overly happy about this. We've heard from Meta, which of course runs Facebook and Instagram. They've said it will not achieve the goal of keeping teenagers safe online. They've quoted here, "As we've seen in Australia, bans risk isolating teens from online communities and information and driving them to unregulated alternatives that lack built-in protections and parental controls." We've heard that from quite a few of these platforms as well. And YouTube has also said that this is the wrong decision, that's taking away what they're describing as a vital resource, so YouTube, for kids.
So the UK is getting a ban. What about other countries around the world?
Australian children are waking up without access to
Anyone
social
under
media.
the age of 16 in this country has officially lost access.
Australia was the first country to ban social media for under 16s, with the law coming into effect in December last year.
Spain and Portugal seem to be the next in line, with politicians announcing plans and partly voting the rules in. Bans are likely to come into force in the next year.
China has wide-reaching restrictions on young people's access to social media, including tiered age restrictions, screen time limits, anti-addiction measures and age-appropriate content filters.
The Canadian government has proposed a ban for children under 16.
Governments in France,
Malaysia,
Denmark,
Indonesia
and Norway are also in the process of bringing in a ban.
Most countries have settled on 16 being the age to allow children on social platforms.
But some, including Denmark, are using 15 as the bar.
Australia has had the ban for 6 months now, so are there lessons to be learned from them? Our Sydney correspondent Katie Watson has been finding out.
I have TikTok, I have Snapchat, and I didn't get notifications for any of them to be banned. I wasn't kicked off of any of them. None of my accounts got banned, which was a bit anticlimactic. I know of 3 girls out of my entire year group, which is 180, that have been impacted. So that's what, 1 out of 60, which is not a lot.
If you were to ask any Australian teenager whether it's working, it would probably be a resounding no. Certainly pretty much everyone we've spoken to, they seem to be on some social media of some sort. And there's some data that backs that up, but really small sample sizes. And I think that's the thing, is it's still really early days. It's still 6 months. We don't know, what the long-term goals are, and that's exactly what the government here is saying. It's saying this wasn't a short-term thing. We're in it for the long game. We're also looking at the idea of the law being a circuit breaker. So for younger people, the 12, 13-year-olds who perhaps have not gone onto social media yet, will it change their habits too? But if you speak to experts, tech experts, they would say this is a bad idea, that it has not helped children understand the safety around being online, and that certainly is crucial. But at the end of the day, it's still, as I said, the data is lacking. It's very early days, but certainly it's been a big inspiration for many countries, and of course now we're seeing the UK.
Our cyber correspondent Joe Tidy is still with us, and another question is, why is the ban happening now, Joe?
Well, I think the short answer is there's a huge amount of public support for this. The government had a consultation and found that nearly 9 in 10 of the adults they spoke to, the parents, were in favour of a ban. But I think the kind of longer answer here really is that the last few years, probably since about 2022, 2023, there have been some really high profile and tragic cases of teenagers taking their own lives because of what they've seen on social media and because of the conversations they've been having. For example, there's been harmful content that they've been shown on eating disorders, that kind of thing. But also there's been some cases of sextortion where children have been blackmailed and they've taken their lives. So I think that those kind of news moments, and also the campaigning that's been done over the last few years by grieving and very passionate parents, has really filtered down. I think it's not just in the UK, but around the world, there is this global move.
And we've been hearing reaction from some bereaved families. Take a listen to Louise Gibson.
I'm the mother of Noah. He died from what I believe is a social media challenge in December 2021. He was 11. I think it's fantastic. I think it needed to be done. It's a shame that it's taken so long, but I think it's there, it's moving in the right direction, and it will help protect so many children.
One big question is, will the ban work? The Prime Minister is being realistic about it.
This might shock you, but it doesn't shock parents of teenagers. They get around other laws too.
And Joe, whether children can get around the ban is absolutely key, isn't it?
Well, it is, yes, and people will say that the ban has failed if there's a huge number of teenagers who are still able to get on these apps, like we've seen in Australia. But I think what Katie said there is also really important because, of course, this is a long-term plan, and there is a sort of transition period from teenagers who are perhaps using the apps now, and then that will be taken away from them. They'll be very exercised to get back on the apps using VPNs and other ways around it. But then there will be younger children, of course, coming through that don't know what they're missing, and perhaps it's that generation of children that we're looking towards that will change the culture around social media. But the other point to make as well is that there's another reason that you could another way you could look at this in terms of whether it's successful or not, and that would be, has it made social networks and social media platforms safer? And I think some critics would say that actually this probably isn't going to do that, because of course if you ban children from these potentially harmful places, then that might mean that the social networks are able to wash their hands of it.
Joe, thank you very much for answering those questions. And that's all you need to know on the UK social media ban.